Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the UNS Valiant. His hands held the metal railing as he looked out at the stars. The ship made a soft humming sound. Everything seemed normal. His crew worked at their stations like they always did. They had been doing this job for a long time. It had been 3 months since they came to this place. The humans called it Kepler 442. It was far from Earth. The ship and others like it stayed here to watch over the space routes. Ships carrying food and supplies passed through here. The war with the Krelton aliens ended 2 years ago, but peace felt fragile. Things could go wrong at any time. Lieutenant Amy Harrison sat at her station. She handled all the messages that came to the ship. Her job was important. She watched the screens in front of her. Suddenly, something changed. Her body went stiff. Her fingers moved fast across the buttons. Her face turned pale. She looked up at the captain. Her voice was tight when she spoke. "Captain, we are getting a distress signal. Someone needs help. It is coming on an emergency channel." Morrison turned to look at her. His blue eyes were sharp. "Where is it coming from?" he asked. Harrison checked her screen again. "About 47 light-years from here. The signal is weak, but I can read it. It is aliens. The patterns match the Valorians." Everyone on the bridge stopped talking. The Valorians were good people. They never hurt anyone. They worked to help different species talk to each other. They tried to make peace. When humans first traveled to the stars 30 years ago, the Valorians welcomed them. They taught humans about the galaxy. They became friends. Morrison spoke clearly. "Put it on the speakers so we can all hear it." The message came through the bridge. The ship's computer changed the alien words into English. The voice was a female. She sounded scared. She was shaking. "This is Administrator Velna of the Valorian Research Station Harmony 7. We are under attack. We do not know who they are. Our defenses are broken. We have 347 civilians here. 62 of them are children. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help now. They are breaking through our walls. We do not have much time." The message played again. The same words. But the voice got quieter each time. Then other sounds came through. People screaming, guns firing. Then nothing but static noise. Commander Daniel Price stepped closer to the captain. He was the second in command. His jaw was tight. His dark eyes showed he wanted to help. "Sir, the nearest Galactic Council ships are at least 3 days away from that place. By the time they get there, everyone will be dead." Morrison finished the sentence for him. "Yes, they will find dead bodies." He turned to the man who controlled where the ship went. "Lieutenant Chen, how long will it take us to reach them if we go as fast as we can?" Kyle Chen was the navigation officer. He quickly did the math. 18 hours, Captain. But we have orders to stay here. We are supposed to guard the supply routes." Morrison looked at everyone on his bridge. He saw the same fire in their eyes that he felt inside himself. Humans learned something during their long history on Earth. When people needed help, you did not wait. You did not ask for permission. You just helped them. He gave his orders. "Helm, set our course for Harmony 7. Go as fast as this ship can go. Tactical, turn on all our weapons and get the Marines ready. Communications, send an emergency message to all human ships near us." Price spoke quietly. "Sir, they might punish us for leaving our post. We could lose our ranks." Morrison smiled, but his face was hard. "Then I will see you at the punishment hearing, Commander. Those are children screaming in that message. I did not become a soldier to hide behind rules while innocent people die." Price smiled back the same way. "Yes, sir. I would not want it any other way." Within a few minutes, 6 more human ships answered the emergency call. The destroyer UNS Warhammer changed its course. The frigates UNS Defiant and UNS Relentless turned around. The heavy cruiser UNS Thunderchild came too. The assault carriers UNS Storm Eagle and UNS Iron Wolf also joined them. All of them left their positions without asking anyone. They just came to help. Harrison looked up from her station. Her eyes were wide. "Captain, Fleet Command is calling us. They're ordering us to come back to our positions right now." Morrison did not even look at the communication screen. "Tell them our communications equipment is broken. We will send them a full report after we finish the rescue." Harrison grinned even though she was scared. "Yes, Captain. Communications equipment is broken." The Valiant and the other ships went faster and faster. They moved through space at incredible speed. Somewhere ahead in the darkness, people were dying. Children were crying. But help was coming now. The humans were coming. When humans arrived, the attackers would learn something important. Something that every hunter learns when they make a mistake. There is always something bigger and more dangerous. There is always someone stronger who will make you pay for hurting the weak. Morrison stared at the screen showing the stars rushing past. His face was calm, but inside he was ready for war. He thought about the Valorians who welcomed humanity to the galaxy. He thought about the children trapped on that station. He made a silent promise. "We are coming. Hold on. Just hold on a little longer." The ship flew through the void between stars. Every minute felt like an hour. The crew prepared for battle. They checked their weapons. They put on their armor. They knew this would be dangerous. They knew some of them might die. But none of them thought about turning back. None of them questioned the decision. In the hallways of the ship, Marines got ready. They cleaned their rifles. They sharpened their knives. They helped each other with their gear. These were soldiers from Earth. They came from a hard world, a world with storms and earthquakes, a world with predators and danger. They evolved to survive. They evolved to fight. But they also evolved to protect. That was what made humans different from other species in the galaxy. They were warriors, yes. They were dangerous, yes. But they were also guardians. They would stand between the innocent and the darkness. They would fight monsters to save people they had never met. 18 hours. That was all the time they had. 18 hours to reach Harmony 7 before it was too late. The clock was running. The Valiant and its sister ships raced through space like arrows fired from a bow. Behind them, they left their posts unguarded. Ahead of them, people needed saving. Morrison never doubted his choice. Some rules were meant to be broken. Some orders were meant to be ignored. When you heard children screaming and you had the power to help them, there was only one right choice. You went. You fought. You saved them. Everything else was just noise. The 18 hours felt like forever. Every person on every human ship prepared for what was coming. In the armory of the Valiant, Master Sergeant Lisa Rodriguez watched over the Marines. She made sure everyone had weapons and armor. Her voice was loud and strong. "Listen to me, Marines. We are going into a fight. We do not know much about what we will find there. We know the station is being attacked. We know there are civilians inside. We know the bad guys have broken through the walls. Our job is simple. Kill anything that tries to hurt those civilians. Make the station safe. Get those people out." Private First Class Danny Wright checked his rifle again. He was only 19 years old. He was the youngest Marine in the group, but he fought well against alien raiders 6 months ago. He proved he could do the job. "Sergeant, do we know who we are fighting?" he asked. Rodriguez shook her head. "No, but it does not matter. Whatever they are about to learn something. They are about to learn why you do not hurt our friends." On the bridge, Morrison looked at pictures and data with his officers. The Valorian station appeared on the holographic screen. It was a large tube-shaped structure. It moved in a circle around a gas giant planet. Around the station, like wolves around a wounded animal, were 12 unknown ships. Grace Palmer was the tactical officer. She studied the enemy ships. "Our computer does not recognize these ship designs. They use plasma weapons. Their shields are normal military grade. Nothing special about them." Morrison looked at the enemy ships on the screen. They looked dangerous and fast, but there were only 12 of them. The humans had 7 ships, 12 against 7. "They will not like those numbers when they see who we are," Chen called out from his station. "Captain, we are almost there. We will drop out of warp speed in 30 seconds. Morrison gave his orders. "All ships, go to battle stations. Put shields at maximum power. Turn on all weapons. Helm, take us in fast. I want those attackers to know we are here." The human fleet came out of warp speed like a storm. 7 warships appeared. Their metal hulls had marks from old battles. Their weapons glowed with power. They formed a perfect attack pattern in space. The unknown attackers stopped shooting at the station. They were confused. There was silence for a moment. Then Morrison spoke. His voice went out on all radio channels. "Attention, unknown ships. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Nations Space Fleet. You are attacking a civilian station. This station is protected by the Galactic Council. You have one chance. Leave now. If you do not leave, we will destroy you completely." The answer came back in broken Galactic Standard language. The computer translated it to English. The voice sounded rough and mean. It laughed at them. "Humans? We have heard of you. Soft creatures from a weak world. You dare to threaten the Ravager clan? We will take your ships as trophies. We will eat your flesh. Attack them. Morrison smiled, but it was a cold smile. They made a bad choice. All ships, you are free to fire. Show them what Deathworlders can do. The Valiant fired first. Railgun rounds flew through space incredibly fast. They moved at almost the speed of light. The first Ravager ship's shields lit up bright. Then the shields broke. The metal rounds went through the hull. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. The other human ships fired too. Missiles flew across the darkness. Their warheads were designed to cause maximum damage. Energy beams, hot enough to melt steel in seconds, cut through Ravager armor like it was paper. The space around Harmony 7 became filled with explosions and burning metal. The Ravagers shot back. But their weapons were made to scare weak civilian targets. Against military shields and the strong hulls of human warships, their plasma bolts did almost nothing. Human ships were built tough. They had to survive the crushing pressure of Earth's deep oceans. They had to handle the violent storms of Earth's atmosphere. These alien weapons could barely scratch them. Palmer watched her screens. They are breaking apart. 3 ships are trying to run away. Morrison's voice was hard. No, nobody leaves. Warhammer Thunderchild chased them down and destroy them. Everyone else finish off the rest. The battle lasted less than 7 minutes. When it ended, 12 Ravager ships were either destroyed or floating dead in space. Bodies and air leaked out into the void. The human fleet had minor damage. Some burned hull plates. A few shield generators that needed replacing. Nothing serious. Morrison stood up and fixed his uniform. Rodriguez, take your team to the station. Find survivors and bring them back. Medical teams, get ready for many wounded people. Communications. Open a channel to that station. Tell them help is here. Harrison worked at her station and then nodded. Channel is open, Captain. Harmony 7, this is Captain Morrison of the UNS Valiant. We got your distress call. The hostile ships are destroyed. We are sending teams to you now. Hold on. Help is here. For a long moment there was only static. Then a weak voice came through the speakers. The voice could not believe what it heard. You came. You actually came. I cannot believe it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Morrison felt relief flood through him. That is what friends do, Administrator. We will get everyone home safe. Morrison out. The Marines moved quickly. Rodriguez led her squad through the docking port and into the station. The corridors were a mess. Broken walls, flickering lights, burn marks everywhere. The station's sensors were destroyed. They had to search every room. Squad 2, take the upper level. Squad 3, check the research wing. Squad 1, follow me to the civilian shelters. They found dead bodies first. Valorians who could not reach safety in time. Their bodies were broken. Rodriguez made herself keep moving. She had a job to do. She could feel sad later. Right now, she needed to find survivors. Wright stopped suddenly. His fist went up. Everyone froze. He pointed at a sealed door. Sergeant, I am reading life signs. Many of them. Maybe 50 or 60 people. They are weak but alive. Rodriguez moved to the door's control panel. It was damaged. The lock was stuck. Corporal Lewis, open this door. Nina Lewis pulled out a cutting tool and started working. The door made a grinding sound as the locks released. It slid open slowly. Air pressure equalized with a hiss. Inside the dark shelter, dozens of Valorians huddled together. They were small and thin. They looked fragile. Their eyes were large. Their skin was pale blue. They were only about 5 feet tall. When light from the corridor hit them, they pulled back in fear. Rodriguez put her weapon away. She took off her helmet. She showed them her face. It is okay, we are here to help. We are from Earth. We are friends. A Valorian female stepped forward. Her clothes were torn. Blue blood stained her shirt. Her legs shook, but she stood straight. You are the humans? The ones who answered our call? That is right. I am Sergeant Rodriguez. We are here to get you out. Can you walk? The Valorian looked back at the others. Then she looked at Rodriguez. Tears filled her large eyes. We thought we were going to die. We thought nobody would come in time. Rodriguez spoke firmly. Not today. Not while we are here, come on. Let us get you somewhere safe. Over the next 2 hours, the Marines found survivors all over the station. People had hidden in emergency shelters. They locked themselves in rooms. They did whatever they could to stay alive. Of the 347 civilians on the station, 291 survived. The others were not so lucky, but 291 people were alive because the humans came. 291 people would see their families again. That was worth everything. The medical bay on the Valiant became a treatment center. Dr. Claire Bennett moved from patient to patient. She treated injuries and offered comfort. The Valorians were in shock. Their bodies hurt. Their minds hurt. But they were alive. Administrator Velna was the one who sent the distress call. She sat in a quiet room with Captain Morrison. Her hands held a cup of hot tea. She stared out at the stars through the window. Her eyes looked far away. "I still cannot believe you came," she said quietly. "The nearest council ships would not arrive for 3 more days. We would all be dead by then. Or worse." Morrison sat back in his chair. "When we heard children screaming in your message, there was no choice. We had to come." Velna looked at him. She seemed confused. "But you left your posts. You disobeyed orders. You risked your careers. You risked your ships. You risked your lives. For strangers. For aliens. Why would you do that?" Morrison was quiet for a moment. He thought about his answer. "Because you are not strangers, Administrator. You are people. When humans first came to the stars, we were afraid. We thought we would find enemies. We thought other species would want to destroy us or use us. Instead, we found the Valorians. You welcomed us. You taught us. You showed us the galaxy could be good. How could we not come when you needed help?" Velna's eyes grew wide. "I had not thought of it that way. In the Council, humans are known as warriors, as Deathworlders. You come from a planet so violent and harsh that you evolved to be predators. We fear you, Captain. We respect you, but we fear you." Morrison nodded. "That is fair. Earth is a harsh world. We evolved as hunters. We evolved as fighters. Our history has much blood and war. But we learned something else on that violent world. We learned to protect the weak. We learned to stand together against danger. We learned that strong people have a duty to shield those who cannot defend themselves." Velna put down her tea. Her hands shook. "The Ravagers came because they heard our station had no defenses. We are scientists. We are researchers. We have no weapons. We have no military training. We thought the Council's protection would be enough. We were wrong." Morrison spoke carefully. "The Council does what it can, but the galaxy is big. Response time matters. What you need is something faster. Something closer." "You mean human protection," Velna said. Morrison agreed. "We cannot be everywhere, but we can be where we are needed most. Other peaceful species in this sector face the same threats you do. Pirates, raiders, slavers, species that hurt the weak. If you want, we can make a rapid response force. A fleet that protects civilian populations." Velna looked at him for a long time. "Many in the Council would oppose this. They fear that human military presence will lead to human control, to conquest. Then they can say no," Morrison replied simply. "This is not about conquest. This is not about control. This is about making sure that when someone sends a distress call, there is someone close enough to answer, someone who will come no matter what it costs." Velna smiled. It was the first real smile Morrison saw from her. "I think, Captain Morrison, you do not understand what you did here today. You did not just save our lives. You showed us something we forgot. Warriors are not always conquerors. Strength can protect, not just dominate. That is a lesson worth sharing." Later that day, Morrison walked through the ship. He visited the medical bay. He saw the Valorian children. They were small and scared, but they were safe now. Some of them smiled at the human doctors and nurses. Some of them held hands with the Marines who saved them. Wright sat on the floor playing a simple game with a young Valorian boy. The boy could not speak English well. Wright could not speak Valorian, but they understood each other somehow. They laughed together. Rodriguez stood nearby watching. She saw Morrison and walked over. "Sir, these people have been through hell, but they are strong. They will survive this," Morrison nodded, "because we got here in time. 18 hours. That was the difference between life and death for them." Rodriguez looked at the survivors. "Do you think Command will punish us for what we did?" Morrison shrugged. "Maybe. Probably, but I would do it again. Every single time," Rodriguez smiled. "So would I, sir. So would every person on this ship." The journey back to human space took 3 days. During that time, the Valorians slowly recovered. They ate, they slept. They talked to each other quietly. Many of them cried for the friends they lost. But they were grateful to be alive. Velna spent much time talking with Morrison. She asked him about Earth, about human history, about why humans were the way they were. Morrison answered honestly. He did not hide the violent parts of human history, but he also talked about the good things, about courage, about sacrifice, about standing up for others. One evening, Velna asked him a direct question. Captain, do you think humans are ready to be protectors in the galaxy? Your species is young. You only reached the stars 30 years ago. You still fight wars among yourselves. How can you protect others when you cannot achieve peace on your own world? Morrison thought about this carefully. You are right. Humans are not perfect. We still have problems. We still disagree. We still fight sometimes. But that is exactly why we understand what you went through. We know what it is like to face danger. We know what it is like to feel helpless. And we know what it is like when someone finally comes to help you. He continued speaking. The peaceful species in the galaxy, they forgot what evil looks like. They forgot that there are beings who hurt others just because they can. Humans did not forget. We see evil clearly, and when we see it, we fight it. That is our nature. Velna listened carefully. Then she asked another question. But are you not afraid? Afraid that by being warriors you will become the very evil you fight against? Morrison met her eyes. Yes, we are afraid of that. Every day. That fear is what keeps us good. The moment we stop being afraid of becoming monsters is the moment we become them. So we watch ourselves. We question ourselves. We hold ourselves to high standards. And we never ever attack the innocent. Velna nodded slowly. I think I understand now. You are dangerous, yes, but you are dangerous in a controlled way. Like a guard dog that protects the family but never bites the children. Morrison smiled. That is a good comparison. We are guard dogs. And you are part of our family now. Anyone who tries to hurt you will have to go through us first. That night, Velna sent a message to the Valorian government. She told them everything. She told them about the attack, about the distress call, about how the humans came when nobody else could, about how they fought, about how they saved everyone they could find. But more than that, she told them about what she learned. That humans were not just warriors. They were guardians, that their violence served a purpose, that they could be trusted. Her message spread quickly through the Galactic Council. Other species read it. Other species talked about it. The story of Harmony 7 became famous. The story of how 7 human ships abandoned their posts and saved 300 lives. Some species praised the humans. Some species worried, but all of them paid attention. Humanity was changing the galaxy, not through conquest, not through force, but through courage and compassion. As the Valiant approached human space, Morrison stood on the bridge one last time before they arrived. He did not know what waited for him. Court-martial, maybe? Punishment, probably. But he did not care. He saved lives. He did the right thing. That was all that mattered. Commander Price stood beside him. Whatever happens next, sir, it was worth it. Morrison nodded. Yes, it was worth everything. 3 days later, the human fleet returned to Kepler 442. The rescued Valorians were on the ships. As expected, Fleet Admiral Stephen Blackwood was waiting. His face appeared on the screen. He looked very angry, but he kept his voice controlled. Captain Morrison, you abandoned your post. You took 7 warships. That is 20% of our forward fleet. You went on a rescue mission without permission. You ignored direct orders to return, and now you come back here like nothing happened. Do you have anything to say? Morrison stood straight. Yes, sir. We received a distress call from a civilian station under attack. The nearest council ships were 3 days away. We were 18 hours away. I made the decision to respond immediately. 291 lives were saved because of that decision. Blackwood corrected him. 291 alien lives. You risked 7 human ships. You risked over 3,000 human crew members. Your job, Captain, is to protect humanity's interests, not to play hero for every species that gets in trouble. Morrison's jaw became tight, but his voice stayed level. With respect, Admiral, I disagree. Humanity's interests are best served by proving we are reliable allies. When we say we will help, we mean it. Our word and our honor are worth more than political calculations. Blackwood leaned forward. You think this is about politics? This is about discipline, about the chain of command. If every captain decides which orders to follow and which to ignore, we do not have a fleet. We have chaos, then court-martial me, Morrison said quietly. Court-martial all of us. Every captain who responded to that call knew the risk. We all made the same choice. Because some orders are worth breaking, Admiral. When children are dying and you have the power to save them, following orders that tell you to do nothing makes you responsible for their deaths. The bridge of the Valiant was silent. Everyone held their breath. Blackwood stared at Morrison for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, his expression changed. It became softer. "Stand down, Captain. You are not being court-martialed. At least not yet. The situation is more complicated than you know." Morrison frowned. "Sir," Blackwood sighed and sat back, "your rescue mission has caused quite a reaction in the Galactic Council. The Valorian Coalition has formally requested that humanity establish a permanent rapid response fleet, a fleet dedicated to protecting civilian populations in contested sectors. They are not alone. The Delphinian Collective, the Arthemian Union, and 7 other peaceful species support the proposal." Morrison blinked. That was fast. "Administrator Velna is very persuasive," Blackwood said. "She gave a speech to the Council about your actions, about how humanity came when nobody else could, about how you risked everything to save people you never met. The speech has been broadcast across half the galaxy. You are heroes, Morrison. All of you. We just did what needed to be done," Morrison said. "Exactly," Blackwood replied. "And that is why the galaxy is taking notice. For centuries, the Council has been protected by its own fleets. Slow fleets, bureaucratic fleets, fleets more concerned with rules than with saving lives. You showed them there is another way. A better way." Morrison felt pressure building on his shoulders. "What does this mean for us?" Blackwood smiled, but he looked tired. "It means, Captain, you are getting what you wanted. The United Nations Security Council is authorizing the formation of the Humanitarian Response Fleet. 7 task forces, 50 ships in total, dedicated to rapid response for civilian distress calls across the outer territories. And you, Captain Morrison, are being promoted to Commodore. You will command Task Force 1. Morrison felt many emotions at once: pride, responsibility, fear. "Admiral, I do not know what to say." "Do not thank me yet," Blackwood interrupted. "This will be dangerous work. You will be first responders to the worst situations in the galaxy. Pirates, slavers, hostile forces. You will be outnumbered. You will be outgunned. You will be operating at the edge of human space. Your crews will face combat regularly. Casualties are inevitable." "I understand, sir," Morrison said. Blackwood nodded. "I know you do. That is why you are the right person for this job. Just remember, Morrison, what you did at Harmony 7 will be expected of you every time. You set the standard. Now you have to live up to it." "We will, sir. I promise you that." Blackwood's face softened more. "I believe you, Commodore. Now get your fleet organized. I have a feeling you are going to be very busy." Blackwood out, the screen went dark. Morrison turned to his crew. He saw the same determination in their faces that he felt in his heart. Commander Price stepped forward. "Congratulations, Commodore. So when do we start?" Morrison smiled. "I think we already have. Pass the word to all ships. We are the first line of defense now. When someone calls for help, we answer. No matter what." "Yes, sir," Price said. His voice was filled with pride. The news spread quickly through the fleet. Everyone heard about the new assignment. The sailors cheered. The Marines celebrated. They were no longer just guards watching trade routes. They had a real purpose now. They were protectors. They were guardians. In the following weeks, preparations began. More ships joined Task Force 1. Engineers upgraded weapon systems. Medical facilities expanded. Training programs started. Everything focused on one goal: be ready to respond to any emergency anywhere in the sector. The Valorians returned home safely. Administrator Velna continued to speak about what the humans did. Her words reached many ears. More and more species began to see humans differently, not as scary warriors from a death world, but as protectors, as friends who would come when called. Other human captains volunteered for the Humanitarian Response Fleet. They wanted to be part of something bigger. They wanted to make a difference. The fleet grew quickly. Within 2 months, all 7 task forces were operational. 50 ships spread across the outer territories. Ready, waiting, watching. Morrison received letters from many species. Thank you letters. Some were from governments. Some were from ordinary people who felt safer knowing the humans were out there. One letter came from a Valorian child. The child drew a picture of a human Marine holding hands with a Valorian. The child wrote in broken English, "Thank you for saving my mama." Morrison kept that letter. He put it in a frame on his desk. Whenever he felt tired or discouraged, he looked at it. It reminded him why he did this job. It reminded him what mattered. The galaxy was a dangerous place. There would always be pirates. There would always be raiders. There would always be those who preyed on the weak. But now there was something new. Something that made the predators think twice. The humans were watching, and if you hurt the innocent, the humans would come. They would come fast. They would come angry. And they would make you regret it. Word spread through the criminal networks. Stay away from protected sectors. Do not touch civilian stations. The Deathworlders are out there, and they do not forgive those who hurt children. Some criminals did not believe the warnings. They thought the stories were exaggerated. They thought the humans were just another military force. They thought they could still operate like before. They were wrong. And they learned their mistake the hard way. Morrison stood on his bridge and looked at the duty roster. Task Force 1 was scheduled to patrol the Arthemian sector next week. Then the Delphinian sector, then back to Valorian space. They never stopped. They never rested for long. Someone always needed help, but that was okay. That was the job. That was what they signed up for. To stand between the innocent and the darkness. To be the shield. To be the sword. Price walked onto the bridge with a data pad. Sir, we received 3 new requests for assistance this week. One is urgent. A mining colony under pirate attack. Morrison looked at the data. How far? 12 hours at maximum warp. Morrison did not hesitate. Set course. Alert the crew. We leave immediately. The Valiant turned. Its engines powered up. It jumped to warp speed. Behind it, the other ships of Task Force 1 followed. They were already moving before the official orders came through. They did not need orders. They knew what to do. Someone called for help. The humans answered. That was how it worked now. That was how it would always work. 6 months passed since Harmony 7. The humanitarian response fleet became famous across the galaxy. Task Force 1 under Commodore Morrison had responded to 47 distress calls. They rescued thousands of civilians from pirate attacks, natural disasters, and hostile encounters. The UNS Valiant was now the flagship of the task force. It patrolled the outer territories with its sister ships. The crew received reinforcements. They got better equipment. They got new technology. They had priority for repairs and supplies. They were no longer guard dogs protecting trade routes. They were guardians of the innocent. In the crew lounge, Corporal Wright played cards with other Marines. He got promoted after Harmony 7. The conversation was light and easy. These were soldiers who faced death together. They were stronger because of it. Corporal Lewis asked a question. Did you hear about Task Force 3? They rescued hostages on a Krex mining station. 50 hostages, 0 deaths. The Krex government is calling them miracle workers. Wright grinned. That is because they learned from us. We set the standard at Harmony 7. Sergeant Rodriguez walked into the lounge. The Marines straightened a little. She waved them back to their game at ease. I just came to tell you we have another call. Arthemian freighter under attack by raiders. We arrive in 2 hours. The Marines stood without complaint. They moved toward the armory. This was routine now. Another call. Another rescue. Another chance to prove that humanity's strength protected others. On the bridge, Morrison reviewed tactical data for the incoming mission. It was straightforward. Intercept the raiders. Neutralize them. Secure the freighter. He did this dozens of times now. But he never became careless. Every mission was critical. Every life saved mattered. Lieutenant Harrison looked up from her console. Commodore, we are receiving a message from the Galactic Council. It is marked urgent, Morrison nodded. Put it through. The screen showed not one representative but the entire High Council. 23 species. Each one represented a different civilization. At the center was Administrator Velna. She now had a leadership position in the Valorian Coalition. Commodore Morrison, Velna said warmly, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I wish to inform you that humanity has been granted a permanent seat on the High Council. Furthermore, the Humanitarian Response Fleet has been officially recognized as a peacekeeping force. You have authority to operate in any council space. Morrison felt pride surge through him. Administrator, I do not know what to say. Velna smiled. Say that you will continue doing what you have been doing. Say that when the weak call for help, humanity will answer. That is all we ask. You have my word, Morrison said firmly. And the word of every man and woman in this fleet. Another council member leaned forward. He was reptilian. He came from the Zendari hegemony. Commodore, when humanity first joined the galactic community, we feared you. We saw your warrior culture. We saw your violent history. We saw your death world origins. We believed you would bring nothing but war to our civilizations. The Zendari paused. His scaled face was hard to read. We were wrong. You showed us that warriors can be protectors. That strength can serve peace. That Deathworlders can be the galaxy's greatest defenders. We are honored to stand with you. Morrison felt emotion tighten his throat. The honor is ours. Thank you. The transmission ended. Morrison stood alone on the bridge for a moment. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an Arthemian freighter was fighting for survival, and help was on the way. Commander Price approached. He stood beside his commanding officer. Quite a journey from that first distress call, sir. Morrison nodded. We just answered a call for help. Everything else followed from that. Price asked another question. Do you ever regret it? Disobeying orders? Risking everything? Morrison thought about the Valorian children he saw evacuated from Harmony 7. He thought about the families reunited. He thought about the lives saved across dozens of worlds. He thought about the message humanity sent to the galaxy. That Earth's children would stand against the darkness. That they would be a shield for the innocent. A sword against the predators. Not for a second, he said finally. Every regulation we broke, every risk we took, it was worth it. Because we showed the galaxy something important. Being strong does not mean being cruel. Coming from a harsh world does not make you a monster. The most dangerous predator can also be the most loyal guardian. Price smiled. The Deathworlders become the protectors. I like that, so do I, Morrison agreed. Now let us go save that freighter. Someone out there needs us, yes sir. Helm set course for the Arthemian sector. Maximum warp, the Valiant surged forward. Its sister ships followed. They were the humanitarian response fleet, the guardians of the innocent, the shield of the weak. They were Deathworlders, yes, but they were also so much more. They were humanity. And when the distress call came, and it would always come, they would answer with fury and fire, with courage and compassion. They would stand between the darkness and those who could not defend themselves. Because that was what humans did. That was what it meant to be the children of Earth. To come from a world so harsh it forged them into warriors, but also a world so beautiful it taught them what was worth protecting. The galaxy had many peaceful species, many cultures that valued art and science and philosophy, but when danger came, when evil showed its face, those peaceful species needed someone to stand for them, someone willing to fight, someone who understood violence but chose to use it only to protect. Humans were that someone, not because they were better than other species, not because they were stronger or smarter, but because they remembered. They remembered what it was like to be prey. They remembered what it was like to be hunted. And they swore that no one under their protection would ever feel that fear again. The Valiant dropped out of warp near the Arthemian freighter. Raiders surrounded the civilian ship. They fired at its engines. They prepared to board. They thought this would be easy. Another helpless victim. Then they saw the human ships arrive. 7 warships. Weapons charged. Shields up. Ready for battle. Morrison spoke on the open channel. His voice was calm but deadly. This is Commodore Jake Morrison of the United Nations Humanitarian Response Fleet. You are attacking a civilian vessel under our protection. Stand down immediately or be destroyed. The raiders tried to run. They were too slow. Human missiles caught them. Human railguns tore through their ships. In less than 5 minutes it was over. The raiders were destroyed or surrendering. The Arthemian freighter sent a message. It was simple. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Morrison replied. You are welcome. That is what we are here for. Stay safe out there. As the task force returned to patrol, Morrison looked at his crew. They were tired. They had been working nonstop for months. But they were also proud. They knew they made a difference. They knew they saved lives. That night, Morrison wrote in his personal log, 6 months ago we answered a distress call. We broke the rules. We risked everything. Some people thought we were crazy. Some people thought we were wrong. But we saved 291 lives that day. And in the months since, we have saved thousands more. He continued writing. The galaxy is changing, slowly. Species that once feared humans now call us friends. Pirates and raiders now think twice before attacking civilian targets. Children across 100 worlds sleep safely because they know someone is watching over them. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. We lose battles sometimes. We cannot save everyone. But we try. Every single time we try. And I think that is what matters most. Not that we always succeed, but that we never stop trying. Morrison closed his log. He looked out at the stars one more time. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. New distress calls. New people who needed help. But he was ready. His crew was ready. The humanitarian response fleet was ready. The Deathworlders had become guardians, and the galaxy was safer because of it. 1 year after Harmony 7, the galaxy had changed in ways nobody expected. The humanitarian response fleet was now over 100 ships strong. 8 task forces patrolled the outer territories. Every major sector had human guardians watching over it. Pirate attacks dropped by 70%. Slave raids almost disappeared. Criminal organizations learned to stay away from protected zones. The mere presence of human ships was enough to keep most trouble away. Those who did not learn paid the price quickly. Morrison sat in his quarters on the Valiant. He read reports from all the task forces. Task Force 2 stopped a Krelthan rebel attack on a colony. Task Force 5 rescued miners trapped by a cave-in. Task Force 7 delivered medical supplies to a plague-stricken world. Every day brought new challenges. Every day brought new victories. A knock came at his door. "Come in," Morrison called. Commander Price entered carrying a datapad. "Sir, you need to see this. It is a message from Earth." From the United Nations General Assembly, Morrison took the pad and read. His eyes widened. "They want me to come back to Earth. To speak to the Assembly?" Price nodded. "They want you to explain what we have been doing out here. Apparently, some politicians think we are overextending. They worry about the cost, about the risk to human lives." Morrison set down the pad. His jaw tightened. "They want to shut us down, not shut down. Just limit our operations. They want to reduce the fleet size. Focus only on protecting human interests directly." Morrison stood and walked to the window. He looked out at the stars. "That defeats the entire purpose. We are not out here just for humans. We are out here for everyone, I know, sir. But you should go. Make them understand. If anyone can convince them, you can." Morrison thought about it. Finally, he nodded. "All right. Set course for Earth, but Price, you are in command while I am gone. If any distress calls come in, you respond. No delays, no waiting for orders." Price smiled. "Yes, sir. That is what we do." 2 weeks later, Morrison stood in the United Nations General Assembly Hall in New York. The room was enormous. Hundreds of delegates sat in curved rows. Cameras recorded everything. This would be broadcast across Earth and to all human colonies. The Secretary General introduced him. Commodore Jake Morrison, Commander of Task Force 1 Humanitarian Response Fleet. He will address the concerns about our military operations in the outer territories. Morrison walked to the podium. He wore his dress uniform. Medals covered his chest. Each one represented a battle, a rescue, a life saved. He looked at the assembled delegates. Many of them looked skeptical. Some looked hostile. He began speaking. "Members of the Assembly, I understand your concerns. You worry about the cost of maintaining the humanitarian response fleet. You worry about putting human lives at risk for alien causes. You wonder if we should focus only on protecting our own people. These are valid concerns. But I am here to tell you why you are wrong to limit what we do." Some delegates frowned. Others leaned forward with interest. Morrison continued. 1 year ago, my crew and I received a distress call from a Valorian research station. We were ordered to maintain our post. We disobeyed those orders. We went anyway. We saved 291 lives that day. 62 of them were children. He paused, letting that sink in. If we had followed orders, those people would be dead. If we had calculated the cost versus the benefit, we would have stayed at our post. If we had protected only human interests, we would have let children die. Is that who we want to be as a species? A delegate from North America stood. "Commodore, with respect, we have limited resources. We cannot save everyone. We must prioritize our own people." Morrison looked directly at him. "Tell me, delegate, if your child was on that station, would you want us to calculate costs? Would you want us to prioritize? Or would you want us to come with everything we had as fast as we could?" The delegate sat down without answering. Morrison continued. "In the past year, the humanitarian response fleet has responded to over 300 emergencies. We have saved over 15,000 lives. Felorians, Arthemians, Delphinans, Kreks, Zendari, and yes, humans too. Because danger does not care about species. Disasters do not discriminate. He pulled up data on the screens around the room. Pirate attacks are down 70% in protected sectors. Slave raids have almost stopped. Trade routes are safer. Civilian casualties from hostile actions are at an all-time low. And you know what else happened? Humanity gained a permanent seat on the Galactic Council. We gained respect. We gained allies. We gained something more valuable than any military conquest. We gained trust. Another delegate spoke up. But what about the risk to our personnel? We have lost ships. We have lost crews. Morrison nodded sadly. Yes, we have lost good people. 23 crew members have died in the line of duty this year. I know every single name. I wrote letters to every single family. Those losses hurt, but do you know what would hurt more? If those people died for nothing, if we pulled back now and said their sacrifice was not worth it. He leaned forward on the podium. Every person who joined the humanitarian response fleet volunteered. They knew the risks. They chose to serve anyway, because they understood something that maybe some of you have forgotten. Being human is not just about surviving. It is about what kind of people we choose to be. Do we hide behind our borders and let others suffer? Or do we stand up and say no more? Not while we can help, not while we have the power to make a difference. The hall was silent now. Morrison could see some delegates wiping their eyes. Others nodded slowly. He pressed his advantage. I have been to dozens of worlds in the past year. I have seen alien children who draw pictures of human Marines. I have seen families who name their newborns after the captains who saved them. I have seen entire communities that exist because we answered their distress call. He straightened up. The galaxy was afraid of us when we first arrived. They saw us as violent deathworlders, dangerous predators from a harsh world. And they were right. We are dangerous. We are predators. Earth made us that way, but Earth also taught us something else. It taught us to protect our pack, to defend our territory, to stand against threats. Morrison's voice grew stronger. The difference is we chose to expand our definition of the pack. We chose to protect not just humans, but everyone under our watch. We chose to use our strength for others, not just ourselves. And that choice, that decision to be guardians instead of conquerors, that is what makes us worthy of respect. He looked around the room. You want to reduce the fleet? You want to limit our operations? Fine, you have that authority. But know this. Every distress call we do not answer, that is a choice. Every life we could have saved but did not, that is on us. And one day when Earth needs help, when humanity faces a crisis, will the galaxy remember us as the species that stood with them, or as the species that calculated costs and walked away? Morrison stepped back from the podium. I have said what I came to say. The decision is yours. But whatever you decide, the people of Task Force 1 will continue doing what we do best. Answering the call. Protecting the innocent. Being the shield humanity can be proud of. He saluted and walked off the stage. The hall erupted in applause. Some delegates stood, then more. Within moments, the entire assembly was on their feet clapping. 3 days later, the vote came. The assembly voted to not only maintain the humanitarian response fleet, but to expand it. 2 more task forces would be added. Funding increased. The mission continued. Morrison returned to the Valiant. His crew welcomed him back with cheers. Price met him at the airlock. Well, sir, how did it go? Morrison smiled. We won. They are expanding the fleet. Price grinned. Of course they are. Nobody says no to you when you get going. Morrison laughed. It was not just me. It was all of us. Every rescue, every life saved, every time we proved that humans can be trusted. That built the case for us. As Morrison walked onto his bridge, everything felt right. The stars ahead, his crew around him, the mission clear. When the next distress call came, and it would come, they would be ready. The Deathworlders had found their purpose. Not conquest, not domination, but protection, guardianship, being the ones who answered when others called for help. And across the galaxy, on worlds both near and far, people of countless species looked up at the stars and felt a little safer. Because they knew that somewhere out there, the humans were watching, and if danger came, the humans would answer with fury and fire, with courage and compassion, with everything they had. That was the promise. That was the mission. That was what it meant to be human.